Should take another cough drop.
Right, I'm ready to go. Oh gosh, we're already live. What?
Already live.
Who does this work on? This like weird text scam. Who clicks these links when they get numbers randomly from one person to like 20 people? How does that work?
I don't know. I don't get it either. Like, and especially when they call you a different name,
or not a name at all.
Right.
I'm just like, okay, buddy, gonna be blocking you. Thanks. I want to text everyone on this chain and be like, hey, don't click this. All right, I don't get scams nowadays. I don't feel like it's like zero effort scams. I'm like insulted at how low effort these scams are now.
But apparently people fall for them. We've come back full circle, right?
It works all the time.
We've come back full circle, and now people are falling for.
What up, Rose? Thanks for jumping on.
What's going on, Rose?
I hope you're here for Joe to be clearing his throat every 2 seconds.
I'm gonna try not to. I promise. I had to work today, and I was on the phone all day, so I had to do the same thing. I was like mute.
What up, brother? Thanks for jumping on. We'll be doing a PAX East 2022 wrap up.
Look at that.
Bottom there, we're gonna do that.
Fancy. It's fancy.
Yeah, this is what happens when I'm on the show like 10 minutes before it starts and I'm all alone. I just start pushing buttons.
And push buttons, get shit done. Get shit done. Look at that. Oh man, I've been the same way. I mean, I got to PAX and I was feeling a little funky day one, and I was like, oh my god. And then my wife tells me, she goes, oh no, the kids have got some allergy crap. And I'm like, great. Like, we had just traveled from Houston back to Dallas just for me to get on a plane. And I was like,
So Joe was at a super spreader event before he went to the super spreader event.
Apparently, yeah. Absolutely.
But it's confirmed it's not the COVID.
It's not the COVID. I took my test. I took my pregnancy test. No COVID, baby.
Just for
sure.
Oh, thanks for jumping on, Dan. I just noticed you're on. Brandon, Dan, good peoples.
Let's we've got a good crowd here. Let's roll those credits and let's talk.
Roll. Let's do it.
Let's go. Welcome everyone to the Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 172. We are back from PAX. PAX 2022 happened. It happened, and
it was not canceled last minute, which is why I kept my hype at a minimal level.
Yeah. You know,
out there was awesome. Hey, Dan, thanks for subscribing for 6 months in a row. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Why is it a snake instead of a goat? Or is that a frog? What is that?
I don't even know what that is. Like,
maybe it's a snake. Should be a goat. 6 months in a row is a goat. That's my opinion. Thank you so much.
The goat for sure. Oh man, PAX was great. It was exactly what we needed, exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
It was a great geek recharge after 2 years of not being in the same room with other people. Not getting to play board games, not getting to, just experience new things, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so like even though I have been doing that for a little while, about 6 months up here in New York, right? We opened our doors. We very carefully started playing D&D and board games together, and it's been a real treat. PAX East is just a whole different way to do it. More importantly, Joe and I got to see each other in person.
Yeah, first time in 2 years was nice.
Seeing our brothers, my brothers, our brothers from other mothers, I guess.
Brothers from other mothers, for sure.
It was all of us together was an absolute blast. So I'm still recovering, if I'm honest.
Oh no, totally. I mean, we're not as young as we used to be, right? And you feel it, man. Like, we've been doing this for, man, this was your 10th PAX, 11th PAX?
This would be my 11th in-person PAX.
This was my 10th PAX East, and then including
no,
all the
wait.
other.
This would be my 10th in person. There was 11 PAXs. This is my 10th. You're right. You were right. I was wrong.
Yeah, so this would be So essentially, there's a ton, like 14 or something like that, with all the South ones that I went to.
Yeah,
and all
you've
of
done
that.
more
So,
PAXs than me.
but I mean, all in all, it's great to have them, and great experiences all around. And this year was a little different, right? It was kind of having a kind of reboot and get everyone back in the door. PAX,
it was smaller for sure. Less of a no. There's Dan. South is not still around, as far as I know.
It is
Officially
not
canceled.
officially canceled.
It might be revitalized, but not as big as it was, or the big attempt. I fear that PAX might shrink a little bit based on this year's performance, but we'll see if that's just because of COVID related. So yeah, it was a little bit smaller. Everyone had to be vaccinated, so that self-selected some folks out. Everyone had to wear a mask, so that self-selected some folks out.
Right.
And then it just wound up being a bunch of nice folks in masks just hanging out at PAX East.
Yeah. So everyone, it was a 100% masked event everywhere, including at the tabletop. And everywhere you went, had to have your mask on.
So I mean, roles. I guess the proper phrasing is proof of vaccinations required.
Right.
Not necessarily vaccinations, right? You had to show an app or a picture of your vaccination card. You had to show some way to verify that you had been vaccinated.
Right.
And like I say it that way because it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was more theater than actual verifications, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's the Clear app, and they didn't even scan it, Dan. If you're familiar with the Clear app, they've got the little QR code on it
with their picture at the top.
They looked at it. They just looked at it as if they could scan the QR code with their eyeballs. But
yeah,
it was you got a band, and then you walked in the rest of the time. Adam, highs and lows. What a question.
I think we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be, stick around, listen to the show, and you'll get those highs and lows for sure. Again, it's a 4-day event, so from Thursday to Sunday. And I got in on Wednesday. You got in on Wednesday night. We usually use that night to kind of like just get our bearings, check into the hotel, get going. That way on Thursday morning we're bright and bushy tailed and hit the floor. And
yeah, definitely. Saw a friend in Providence, but was ready to go Thursday morning.
Yeah, and as as PAX is a 4-day event, Thursday was added. I want to say maybe 4 years ago, give or take, 3-4 years ago.
Yep, I like it.
It used to be Friday to Sunday. Now it's Thursday to Sunday. They added a 4th day.
Dude, how did you know they did? The Fritos did last all week.
They did. They did last all week.
Bag on Sunday. We still had some Fritos left on Sunday.
I took it home.
Oh, there you go.
I was eating them. Yeah. So Thursday rolls around, and we've always expected. I mean, Pedro and I have always hit the floor on Thursday more than anything since Thursday was added, because we knew that Thursday was always kind of the slower day. A lot of the locals don't show up on Thursday because they're still at work, they're still at school, the kids are still at school, etc. So Thursday's if there's a game you want to play, if there's a hype game, go get in that line on Thursday. You're going to get to play it. And we hit the floor on Thursday, and I mean, we saw everything. One of the highlights of PAX to me every year is going down that escalator and seeing the floor.
There is like a welcome back to the station feeling to that, where you're like, this is I remember this. This is great.
Like that.
I didn't realize that you had put pictures up with a snack drawer. You're revealing the PAX secrets. But that was my brother V the Killer. We put one person in charge of food, and it's my two brothers, and they definitely bring the snack game, and they're in charge of the booze game actually. So yeah.
I mean, I used to be a big booze guy when it came down to it, but now I can't travel with it because I have to fly in, so it's harder for me to get it. So
come on, you'll drink whatever we put in front of you.
Like a yeah, absolutely. But we got to the floor and we got to see it, and if you remember the opening to Half-Life, that when you're in the subway car to get into the Black Mesa.
Sure.
Kind of going into that feeling. That feeling is that feeling that I get when we go down into PAX. Like every year, it's always that. Like,
you get a video game feeling.
Yeah.
Into PAX.
It's that intro. It's that intro movie that plays in my head. And It didn't disappoint, but at the same time, you noticed there were things. If you're a PAX veteran like we are, we notice the things.
Oh,
And the floor, if you were to look at, first off, PAX East is the biggest video game convention in the US, period.
yes.
When it comes down to size and the amount of people that show up, it is bigger than E3, it is bigger than PAX West, it is bigger than all of them because of the size of the expo hall. The Boston Convention Center is huge. And when we started going, the first one in 2012 in that location, it didn't fill it up. It would go about 3/4, and then the back, the whole next half or whatever was empty space or tables. Or
they had it boarded up.
And every year it would get pushed back till eventually about, I want to say 2015 or so, it pushed all the way to the back of the convention center, like all the way to the back, and there was no room for anything. Corner to corner,
all three rooms, all 3 floors, all 3 big main theaters. Basically, the whole place is PAX.
Yeah. So this year it was not. Right off the bat, when you look at the map to see what vendors and developers are there, the 3 big were missing for the first time ever. If one was always missing, the other 2 would show up, or there was always at least 2 out of the 3, Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony, and none of them were here. So with that said, and there wasn't the big spectacle, there weren't the big booths that take up the multi-$1,000 setups that these companies would put out. So that was missing. What we did see is certain developers did have pretty big elaborate sets, but they weren't like a good example is Dead Cells was there, right?
Hey, thanks for coming on, Tim.
What's going on,
Dead
Tim?
Cells was there. They had a couple systems.
They had a big castle set up with lights and everything. But
if you're a fan of the show, you know that we love Dead Cells.
Yeah,
Metrovania Rogue. It like takes all the goodness of Metroid and all the goodness of roguelikes and makes them kiss in this fabulous way. And even when I demoed it on the floor, I'm playing it with the new expansion, Joe. I couldn't help but be like, "Yep, I know exactly why I messed up there. I need to get good."
Right? No, yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those games that that
get good. Yeah,
get good. And I guess they were there because they were showing off their new expansion, which had just come out. And
big new important patch.
It was just weird to kind of see them, like, I guess, show up, have spend money on a giant installation for a game that's already out there, but they keep giving to the fans. They keep adding to the game, and it's been a blast seeing it. So that was what is it? Queen in the Sea, I think is what it was called, right?
Yes, I believe so. Because I was using a big fish, so the sea makes sense.
Yeah. So one of the weapons that you had was like a giant shark or a fish or some sort of like addition.
I did a ton of damage, and it's 3-hit combo. You throw the fish at the end, so it became a long range weapon. It was pretty cool. So if you haven't played Dead Cells, there it goes. Check it out. Fantastic little learning all the enemy combinations is just a blast. That floor breaks there if it blows up. There's like breakable terrain. You of course have like the double jump, the wall running, the shields, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges on the floor was within 10 minutes. I think you have to get
through a map, and that's what I was trying to do. So I'm with you, Crossover Appeal. Thanks for jumping on the show. That stuff is great, right? But I haven't gone back since I beat the king and I did the stuff. And now this new patch looks really cool. Actually, it looks really devastating, actually. Oh, that's just a heartbreaking loss right there. That's what that is. Dan jumps on. He says, "I bought the physical when it first released. Played it once, and my kid thought it was too bloody. It is bloody. This is true.
It is. I mean, it's pixel bloody, but it is bloody for sure."
Off. Maybe I know in another game I played, you can actually Death's Door. You can actually turn it off. So like, there's a couple of games now that accessibility reasons allows you to turn off the blood for these games. So maybe give it another chance.
Yeah. So I mean, when it came down to big installations, there wasn't too many big ones. Smaller.
Intel had a massive one.
Yeah. So Intel put this big display, and I don't know what they were showing off. Like, it was just more of like, it was just a big swing of Intel. It was, I don't know. I mean, so they recently they've recently released their 12K.
Without Intel inside, right? We all know that.
I mean, they've recently released their 12K line of processors, the 12 series of the i7, i9, and whatever. There's rumors that they're going to be releasing their new graphics card, their Intel Xe graphics card, to compete with Nvidia and AMD, but that wasn't there. Like they didn't seem to, if any of the machines had them in there, it wasn't like it. Like they didn't.
They had like a build workshop. I think one of the cooler things though, they had a I don't know if you posted any pictures, but they had a nice like art museum thing in their Intel section where they commissioned artists to draw like things about video games and video games that Intel has been around, and it was a neat sort of
there must have been some sort of like
museum at PAX East.
Yeah, enter some sort of like art piece, and it was beautifully done, different mediums and whatever, and they had prints up, and each big 16:9 size wallpaper of a picture had a QR code, and at the bottom you could scan the QR code and you can buy a desk mat based off of that particular art piece right then and there on the floor, and get it shipped to your house.
The only way to buy art. It was so simple.
Yeah, it was cool. Pretty cool. A lot of beautiful artwork, and they kept rotating them out because they weren't the same every day. I noticed that when I walked by, I was like, this wall had this one. Why is it moved now? What's going on?
I did not notice that.
So they had some other ones the next day.
Easy to miss. So Thursday's the day where we tried the games. So what games did you try?
Well, I mean, of course, I had to hit up and if you follow me on Twitter or whatnot, I had to hit up Ninja Turtles. I had to play the new .emu Ninja Turtles, and boy, that did not disappoint. They had a nice big 2-level demo that you got to run through, and it was a blast playing that 4-player on the floor. I got to play as I played as Raph, but the person next to me played as April, and the person next to them played it with Splinter, and so it was nice seeing the 2 new characters kind of in. And
so they're all 4 turtles in the 2
two expansion characters, or they're part of the game at the very beginning. Everyone kept asking for Casey. The developers kept saying, well, we'll see, maybe he's unlockable, you never know. So it looks like we'll probably get a lot more characters for sure.
What system was it on?
So I mean, this was a PC, of course, as they were playing on, but it's when it comes out, it'll be on all of them. It's going to be on Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch.
Yeah, I feel like that's the rule, Dan, nowadays, unless they say otherwise, right? Unless they say it's an exclusive, it's probably going to eventually be available on everything, right?
So I mean, this right here, this is the first level you played. It's actually the second level of the game that you play. You play the second and third level of the game, and everyone's got power-ups. There's a great combo system. The art is great when it comes right down to just the art quality, the animation. What else? I mean, it just has little Easter eggs. Like, for example, you just saw Mikey there kind of on his shell doing his little like breakdancing move. One of his taunts, he does his like little dance that he does in the intro of the cartoon. There's super moves, power moves like that. You just saw there's a combo hit up top. You can see how many hits they've got. So 31 hits. If you're familiar with that combo hit system from Streets of Rage 4, where you can just keep hitting, even if you're finished with one, if you move on to the next enemy within a certain time frame, it'll keep adding those hits. You can make them bounce off the wall. You can juggle enemies between each other. All sorts of Easter eggs going on in the background that are part of the show. You'll see little Channel 6 items, things that were referencing episodes from the show. So it looks like there's a lot of love in this show, or in this game so far. So I'm excited to see the full.
It's great fun. Any 4-player couch co-op or online co-op game, I'm 100% on board with. So
yep. It is 4-player couch co-op and online. Yeah, there's all sorts of combo moves. Straight up, like I was unlocking other moves as I was playing them. So I would randomly input like certain moves, and sure enough, they would do different things. And if you're looking at the characters like Leonardo, he's already done like 4 or 5 different, like he's done a few super attacks or combos. So so all in all, it just seems to be a great little love letter to this gameplay in the arcade. So I don't think we've got a release date yet, but I mean, this looks complete. I don't know how much further they've got development wise. I mean, this build that they had was 2 full levels with bosses and animation and audio and everything. So yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Pretty sweet. What else did we try out? I tried out a Now, again, if you're a fan of the show, you know that Joe likes retro gaming, and you know that Pedro can't say no to a roguelike deck builder.
No,
So
no, he cannot.
I'm still playing Slay the Spire, in case y'all are wondering. At least once a day doing the dailies. Best I ever got was top 10, and that was only for a moment. So what I mean, this for me was the game of the con. I played the demo every day I was there. So this is Beneath Oresa. It's a deck building game with some pretty sweet animation. Here we are running through. But you start with the starter deck of like 10 or 12 cards like you do in every game. You pick some options, right? So here this says this just gets up to choose the top one. Are you playing it? Is that what you're doing?
I'm not. I'm not. No, I haven't.
Oh,
I mean, I do have it, which was
I
nice. Is
know.
this demo is available on Steam? You can go onto Steam and download it, which was very fun because a lot of these indie developers put demos up available and allowed you to kind of just play it. So one of the great things is I think the question of the con I kept asking a lot of the devs is, have you tried it on the Steam Deck?
Does it Steam, baby? Does it
Have you
run
tried on the
Steam
Steam Deck? And they hadn't. But what was nice is they said, but the demo's on there if you try it out. And sure enough, I went when I got back to the hotel room, I downloaded some of these demos and I walked up to some of these devs. I'm like, hey man, it's working.
Yeah.
It's working on here. And
I played this Thursday, and then Thursday night I think I played it for another 3 hours on
the Steam Deck, yeah,
room on your deck. So the way it works here, you got those cards down there. You play red cards for damage, green cards for defense, but there's all sorts of like the guy's a game designer in general. He's done a lot of deck builders on his own time. I think he said he designed for Pokemon as well. So his card interactions are ridiculous, right? So it's just, whoo. Dan, you got to give it a whirl, man. Try Slay the Spire because it's nice.
Dan, that kind of does count because it's a very light deck building style game. But yes, if you've played the Paper Mario Color Splash games where you have the different cards in your cards or your attacks, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a deck building.
Pretty much the same way where you're cleaning up, and it gives you that little dopamine rush of a nice gamble, right? You beat a fight like this. I wish this would show the fight. Just pick a card, dude. So the nice thing is that when you chain your animations, it starts fighting through. Go back a little bit. He played a bunch of cards there. There we go. So hopefully he'll play this Art of the Family. So he played a defensive card. Now he's swinging. He's going to swing again. And you can see that was actually really fast. So the art plays through all the attacks.
It plays through all the attacks. And it's very cinematic.
So you're not just fighting them this close the whole time. There could be enemies further away. And a lot of the game is practicing where you want to be to receive their attacks. You can see that this range character does 10 damage, runs away, and now it's going to shoot a bunch of times, but he blocked it all with his block. And then that one. Now that one, if you stay in the same zone with that one, after it makes an attack like that, it's going to do a big damage attack. So you want to make sure to get away. And what you would do is run towards that one in the back. So there's a little bit of a spatial strategy here. There's deck building strategy. There's card.
There's a few cards that allow you to discard cards to pull more cards, which allow you to chain more.
Yeah, all the standard deck building sort of stuff goes on here. And at least for the demo, for me, it was tweaked just right to make me want to play again and try to do better than my last run, which is the perfect roguelike. Plus, the developer was really cool. At one point, he saw that I was back for a little more, and he was like, "Have you beat the demo yet?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "Let's do a speed run." So he sat right next to me and played a run while I was trying to play my run. And I mean, of course, he dominated me, destroyed me. But
right.
He was a good sport about it, and that's always a lot of fun when developers get into you being a fan of their stuff. So
that's the best, and that's my favorite part about PAX, right? Is like getting to see these indie developers and see the passion that they're putting into their game. It's the best.
A lot of fun that way. What other games did you try out?
What other games did we try out for sure? I mean, there was a few other ones. This one I got to play, and I can't find any actual full gameplay footage, but the trailer's been out for a while, and it is a horror first-person shooter in the sense of like BioShock and that Five Nights at Freddy's kind of feel. But it's called My Friendly Neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
It is a take on, you're shooting up, like the enemies are like Sesame Street ripoffs. They're like Muppets and they're creepy as all hell. And you shoot them with letters of the day. If you notice that, the cards.
I've seen this before.
Yeah,
I think I've seen the demo of this. They finally had
yeah,
a
it was out there. It was out there to the right. I found it on a couple of laptops, and the developers were there. So it was a small publisher, and they had a few games there, and so you could sit down at their laptops and choose a game from their library, and they had this loaded up, and it was fun. It had good atmosphere. So for a lot of inspecting and finding and kind of building new puzzles, and then the occasional jump scare / random Muppet like character coming out to like get you.
And that's one of the neat things about this PAX was how much you got to play the indie games because the lines were small and there was no big game stealing everyone's thunder for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one was fun. Again, it's a small game, small developer, but yeah, animatronics / Muppets more than anything.
That's right. So John, you said it, and then Joe said it. Animatronics / Muppet. It looks creepy that way. It's good stuff. Oh, hey, Specialization. I didn't realize you jumped out. Thanks.
What's going on, man? Yeah. What else? What else did you play? One that caught you on? Oh, we played a little bit of what is it? Die by the Blade, right?
Die by the Blade. Yes.
Let me see if I can find some gameplay on that. But if you're familiar with
Bushido Blade,
yeah, Bushido Blade, then you know what we're talking about here.
So what I love most about these developer moments is that I played the game. I kind of grokked it. Joe and I played against each other, but yeah, Specialization. We had a great time at PAX. It was. I don't want to say it's like coming home again, but it was so awesome seeing everyone that I see every time I've ever gone to PAX. Brothers, friends, families. Joe, it was awesome seeing Joe in person and just hanging out with a lot of folks who played games. So the dev there, right? Like they designed this game. It's pretty nice. You know, it's like high-end graphics. And there's these opportunities for one-hit kills, right? Joe and I didn't quite grok the parry system. But you can get these one-hit kills in this game, and right away I was like, "This is Bushido Blade," and the dev's eyes light up. Like it's always amazing to see someone like know that their inspiration is recognized and they're among your own people, which is what's the coolest thing here, right? Here we
Definitely
are.
that Neo Japan cyberpunk feel that everyone's
Yeah,
kind of going
totally.
for right
But
now.
see, you've got that same kind of speed, and here's the slice. He left himself open, no opportunity for a parry.
Yeah, and it's multi-round, so 2-3 round one-hit kills.
Yep.
Parries, and it's great. I mean, so far the build was very early. They only had 2 characters up.
Yeah, they only allowed 2 characters for the demo, and it wasn't like the parry system didn't feel as smooth as you want for a game like this. Like actually, my brother Jay put Bushido Blade on his little retro game system, and I had forgotten how smooth Bushido Blade was with this parry system. Right, you get the little green light. You could strike back almost immediately. Bushido Blade was just that was the game to play when I was in college with friends.
Yeah, no, for sure. Another game that this same developer had. This was a fun station because this one was one where you can get a pin, and so it was which was nice is because you didn't have to buy the pin. You walked up, and if you played their demo and did some promo for them by sharing some stuff, they would give you one of their pins. Which is smart for them because again, there's very little info about this particular game, and yeah, right. So many nights playing Bushido Blade, so that's definitely how we felt by playing that. So definitely one of those games that you want to sit down and learn and play, and it's going to be fun to play online for sure.
It was it was Bushido Blade in my room because I had the PlayStation, and then down the hall we were playing GoldenEye, right? Like that was our amazing college experience. I don't think I learned anything for like a year and a half there. I just played video games.
One of their other games that they had on that station was it Scythe? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Scythe. I think it was
Scythe. And this game was basically a fast first-person shooter in the vein of the original Unreal.
This is Joe's like shit. This is what he loves.
Yeah.
The demo for me was about 3 seconds long before I died. Almost instantly, I was dead. And Joe was there. Did you beat the demo?
Yeah, I beat the demo. Long time. I ran through the demo, and that was fun. One of the moves that you get, like, of course, it's like fast, parrying, shooting, sidestep, strafe, rocket jump style gameplay, very quick. I mean, you can see this gameplay is very quick. But one of the moves is you wipe the blood off of your visor. So yeah, there he goes. He just does it right there as an option. It's just a fun game. Looks like it's an in-house engine, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it? Oh yeah. All right.
And I don't know. It just looks fun. They look like they're having a blast. It's definitely an homage to all of those old. If you like Quake and you like Unreal and Unreal
It's
Tournament and
got
all of
that
those.
same loud heavy metal music.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's dressed
absolutely.
like they're in Warhammer 40K cosplay. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
this is my
This is your
style of
shit.
first
Look how much
person.
stuff was like this.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me like
I
go to
love it.
first person bullet hell, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's
No
how I like
okay.
to play. So
Too
got to
stressful.
play this. This was a blast. And again, you can check out the Twitter handle right there. That
Oh
quality.
damage. That's right, ditch that
Quality
witch.
game.
Oh damage.
Oh yeah, totally. There was power ups. There was all sorts of stuff, and then you eventually get locked. By the end of the demo, you're locked into a room with a giant boss, and he's very cyber demon esque slash one of the big demon looking things from Unreal with the two like cannon hands.
Yeah, you look real
And I keep
familiar,
saying
but also new, right?
I keep saying Unreal because the graphics, the polygons looked a lot like the original Unreal more than a Quake engine game.
The
It
polygon.
had that original Unreal feel, that like fluorescent green texture, everything. I don't know if you're familiar with that Unreal, that original Glide graphics, 3D effects voodoo looking graphics. That's what everything looked like when you played it. So again, it's fast-paced movement. Enemies spawned from all sorts of different directions. All the guns had secondary fire. This one was like a machine gun slash homing missile like cluster.
Secondary fire. See, this is that's yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
good at these games. That's the cautious story.
yeah. So yeah, you had a dash. So you can see there you had a dash, and sure enough, they would just pop in and you give them all the gibbage.
And
It
then
was
you
nice.
fight, and then you block the
So
combos.
yeah, I got to
Yeah,
play this, and
that was really cool. Super excited to put together what they did. Even though it's clearly like uh, the
early
grandchildren
stages.
of games that we all grew up with, right?
Yeah,
That's
what's nice about PAX is we always get to play these games, and then like 3 years down the road, we'll look at our downloads, and we're like, oh crap, we played this game, right? It's coming out on this,
you
or
saw it here first, everyone.
yeah, exactly. And that's the nice part is it happens all the time. Though you'll see like these PlayStation events or Nintendo events, and they announce trailer, and I'm like, wait a minute, I played that like 2 years ago before it was even an announced game.
It's good stuff. What
So
else? What else do we do? Oh well, PAX East for me is for us, I should say, but I don't like to speak for Joe.
no, it's fine.
Is board games, right? So we played a couple new board games. What did you get to play? Board game. Oh, I know. You played Furnace. Which
I did, and I did not like it. I did not like it at all. I did not like that game, Sam. I am.
you did not like it. Wait, let me. I think I got it up here.
You got it.
I'm not as quick in the draw as this guy, but I think I got it up. All right. So here is the picture of the game. Right. The game is called Furnace.
Yeah.
It is a I mean it's an engine building game. If you're familiar with board games, eventually you want to a lot of these board games are about building an engine, right? You place your workers just right to figure these things out, and then eventually you rock it out from there. This game is just the engine, right? So there is some auction mechanics to get the resources you need, but really it's about buying the right cards through the auctions and then building the engine to score as many victory points as possible. And
Yeah, I mean, for if you're not
oh,
familiar with board games, not a board game player, there's different styles of games, and for an engine style game is essentially a type of game. So, like Peter was mentioning, the purpose of it is you go through rounds where you're building, you're putting pieces together, and the best way to describe it would be like almost like mousetrap, right? Like in a mousetrap sense. And if I say engine, you're building a contraption, a machine, a thing that's going to run. And then at the end of your turn, you're kind of like, you basically hit go. And what it does is it generates.
yeah,
One thing will generate this type of fuel, and then this next card will eat that fuel and convert it to something else. And the whole premise of that like process of these cards that you've picked up in your round is to get points, victory points.
and you're hoping that the start of your engine, you just have to put in like 2 coal, and at the end you've got steel, oil, and victory points, right?
Right.
So that, and maybe some coal back, because if you do it right, you can bounce these engines off of each other, these cards off of each other, and spit it all out at the end. I mean, it's one of those games in crossover appeal. I wish you could have played it with us because I think you would have enjoyed the sort of clean auction mechanic and the quickness in which you can build your engine and fail to build your engine, right? The one or two mistakes in the build.
So
You go big machine.
yeah, in a way, in a card form, in an economic sense, right?
Mhm.
It's almost like again, these cards represent factories. So one of them would be like, I'm a factory that builds that mines coal. So then at the end of it, you've got coal, but then your next factory in the line says, if you feed me 2 bundles of coal, I will give you 1 steel. And so that 1 steel then adds to your resources. And then the whole purpose is at the beginning of your turn, you have to line your cards up in the specific order to kind of optimize the processing for economic gain.
Yep, it is victory points. And like you get to play capitalists, and some of us on this show don't really like capitalism, but it's fun to play it as a board game, right? That's
it's totally fun. So I'm lying if I say I didn't enjoy myself. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with this style of gameplay for me is it stresses me out a little bit because the whole purpose of the game is
review from our friend on Brother Sister, right? The other show on 8:30 on Tuesdays. Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing.
It's that stressful feel of like you're so busy trying to figure out if you're going to do the right thing that the majority of the time, the majority of losses in these games have nothing to do with the fact that you made the wrong choice. Or no, it's 100% you made the wrong choice in the order, but it has nothing to do with what card you pulled. You can win with pretty much everything. The combination doesn't seem to be a wrong answer. There just seems to be inefficientness of your order of
it's
cards.
all about building the most efficient thing. So Dan, so do you die, as in does capitalism kill you? And in the long run everything kills you eventually, right? You do die. This game does not, thankfully. You just win. you win or you lose, and it comes down to victory points at the end. Usually it's the person who spent the most time thinking about it and undoing their moves 100 times. But
this is definitely set for a specific mindset of folks,
this is set
right?
for a specific mindset. I liked it because it clears away all the other fluff around an engine, right? This game is all about building engines, and that's always a fun thing to do. This is the Wall Street Journal Twitch channel. It could be Wall Street Journal if you want to sponsor us.
It could be.
It could be. Next week we will cover everything.
Yeah, so if you can see here are the cards, right? So if you put them in this order, these are 2 rows. So this top row means it gives you something, and the second row is an upgrade on this engine. So for example, if you flip this card over, you would only have this one lit up, and this would be grayed out. And the idea here is this card produces 1 iron or one steel, period. That's it. That's what it does. And then this card basically says you can take 1 iron 2 times, which will give you two coins.
Yep, and coins are straight victory points. You can see
straight
that if you get the right combinations, you can bounce these cards off of each other. And
this one here, this card right here was 1 iron 1 time, so you can only do it 1 time per run of your engine, and you get a upgrade coin. This upgrade coin allows you to spend it on upgrading these cards to flip them to give you this bottom row. And so, for example, if you flip
a card that gives you victory points, Joe,
right. So if you got 2 ones down here to give you 5 victory points. So again, it's really, do you want to upgrade everything, or do you want to keep those and cash them in at a certain time? If you flip this one, for example, then next time you could do this row, and then also you get 3 coal. So it's just all about like optimizing and seeing what you got. So it's very frantic because you're managing an economy, you're managing your cards, you're having to buy, you're having to do a whole auction. There's an auction round. If you noticed in these cards here, or there's these tokens, 4, 3, 2, 1. Essentially, there was a marketplace, and if you put a 4 down, you were going to win that card. But if someone put a 3 on top of it, they would get a specific piece of that card. It's complicated it's complicated to explain, but visually, it's not hard to play. It's actually a very fast.
Yeah, so that's a good question, Rose. Interesting. How easy was it to pick up a play? I think everyone there. I mean, granted, we all have some board game experience. We're not coming from monopoly backgrounds. Everyone there picked it up after the first turn. I mean, the only thing we didn't all fully grasp the auction mechanics or the importance of how you auction until the very last round. But building your engine is easy. Everyone understood right away. One thing that Joe didn't mention is that once you complete a factory's turn, you can't go back to it.
Yeah.
Right? The order in which you have your engine running, like a Rube Goldberg machine, is super important. You take a minute to think about, I want this one to feed this one, to feed this one, to feed this one, and at the end, profit, right? That's what
Done.
it's all
There's
about.
no, oh, wait a minute. This one would have given me this. Hold on. Let me move it back over here. Let me rerun that. No,
Dan says I'm definitely a Monopoly background person. Oh, that's okay, right?
That's okay.
The option
look, again,
is,
those board games are board games still, but a lot of those mechanics fall in and can become more advanced. And some of these board games, there's very advanced versions of Monopoly out there. Like when you really think about the board game mechanic, like if you take that mentality and just move it up a rank, you get some of these other games.
Yep. Speaking of not at all a Monopoly board game mechanic, let's talk about Beyond the Sun. This is another game.
Yeah, you get to play this one. Tell me about this one. I wasn't there for this one.
The crossover appeal. Actually, the crossover appeal mentions Food Chain Magnet, which I don't believe is a Monopoly game. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. Love the game. Thankfully, he put it out. Crossover appeal was at the event, and we got to play this Beyond the Sun together.
He was.
This game is like Furnace, which I love because it's all about the engine, and it just got rid of all the engine. This is what we are going to affectionately call a tech tree game. Maybe you can see it there. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. You can move it around. Yeah, so this is where board games, like once you start getting more advanced into board games, you're playing games like this. But honestly, when you look at
that tech tree, look at this beautiful tech tree. Come on.
Yeah, so okay, think about this. If you are a fan of doing upgrade trees in video games, if you like RPGs and you're a big fan of the min-maxing of the upgrade trees on your characters in Final Fantasy and any of the Square games, that is what some of these board games are. They're essentially, you've taken that entire part of the game and turned it into a board game.
And this game, the conceit here is that Earth is dying, and you're a member of one of the last few factions on Earth looking to colonize the stars. Now, while that auction tree, right, that auction tree that we see right there is important and absolutely critical to the game because it opens up more actions for you to take, there was a lot more, and you can see there's some actions you can take. There was so much fun here in this kind of deep space, right? You see that map there?
Yeah.
There's also planets to colonize, and there's a lot of back and forth here based on your text. You turn your colonists into ships and you use your ships to control areas or colonize areas, so there's a little bit of balance there. It's a super pretty game. In fact,
and a lot of these games are really banking on the art style. They get a lot of these popular artists to come in. Like there are specific artists, big names in board game design now, where I might have the idea, but I go, let me go hire this guy to make the art because his art's going to sell and bring people in, and my idea will be my game. And so, yeah, that's how it works.
Some of these here, I mean, this one's got that simple Euro art. I think it's got a planet art. It's got some ships. It's got sweet design. You see the little dice there, those little people, they turn. Those little dice and people will turn, and they can turn into a supply ship or a spaceship or a level 3 spaceship. It is competitive, Dan. And as Crossover Appeal says, probably better than me, develop your tech, but discovering tech needs your economy to be working well. And your economy can only be working well if you're exploiting the resources to space colonization effectively. So it really all feeds each other. You can't just live making science, which is what I was trying to do in the beginning. And then I blew out there. And I believe the Crossover Appeal actually won. And it was a real tight game. The victory points were within like 8. We were really close to each other in our first playthrough. And it was a blast. It was a total straight blast. Great enough that I was going to buy it, but then I saw that Crossover Appeal had bought it, so I said, "Okay, I can play it at his house."
Play it at his house, yeah.
Play it at his house,
yeah,
and go from there. So this might have been the game of the con for me. This particular game, as I had a real good time playing it.
What was the name of the spy game that we played?
Oh, that was Heimlich and Co. You know what? I should have brought that one up because my brothers, who don't normally buy games, totally bought this game.
So this is another game that we played together as a group, and this was fun. This was very fun. This was, again, you'll see here if you're ever familiar with board games, a Board Game Geek website, is a big review site. A lot of breakdowns, the amount of players. It'll tell you what type of games. It's a family game, very easy to pick up, 30-minute play time, ages 8 and up. And again, it's really neat. Really neat. It looks like the edition that we played is definitely newer.
Yeah, the ones I'm looking at Board Game Geek are like,
so you look at some old ones. So it looks like it's an old game that's been redone. So that looks like the old version of it.
Yep,
for sure.
The conceit of this game, Heimlich and Co. That's right. So we put this one on. I'm going to say like 11, right? This was.
It was late. It was like an hour before we had to go.
Yeah, so we set it up. It's simple to learn.
Trying to find
Dan,
something on that.
I don't want to say it's like Monopoly level, but the rules are very simple. Everyone starts at exactly the same power level. There's actually the same goal. You want to score as many points as possible. Every building on the map has a score value to it. And every player has one of
Yeah.
those colors. You see those tokens there? They all represent countries. What happens is that you know your color,
You know
but
the country
you don't
that you're
know
defending.
anyone else's colors, and most importantly, which I found to be fun, you can move everyone else's pieces.
Yeah.
So you're trying to bluff uh, everyone else at the table by not moving your orange token and moving everyone else because they think you moving on that 10 spot or 9 spot, you're trying to score it while you're maybe sneaking around and going for 6s and 7s and 8s to win the
I
game.
tried that my second round and I got pretty far.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you sort of you go up and down, and like for example, when someone moves your piece and you're watching, you're like, why'd you move my piece? But you're also trying not to reveal that they
That
moved
was
your
your
piece,
piece to
right?
begin with. Right. So
So
you've got all
there's a
these
lot of
colored
like
pieces.
accusations going back and forth, a lot of trash talk, a lot of good times.
First
This
person
is
of
a
40,
solid,
40 points wins.
yeah, and it's 8 players, and it was wicked fast. Like it's a, I might pick it up for the house, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's 8 players, 9 pieces. So there's
yeah,
one NPC.
yes, this way there's always one character you're definitely not sure of,
You're
right?
definitely not sure of, which makes it very like ambiguous for sure.
It's good,
Um,
cleverly designed, really fast. We didn't even. I mean, I know we looked at the expansion. There was DLC for it, but we didn't even need it. I think we played 3 fast games with it. It's a
yeah,
great
very
filler
fast
game.
games. Again, no, not hard at all.
Yeah, easy to pick up if you're familiar with board games, right? I'm down with that. And then let's see, we got about 15 minutes left. So highs and lows. Adam asked earlier. So I know the high for me was running the D&D game Friday night.
Yeah, man, let's talk about D&D for a
I
little
had
bit.
all I had all 6 players at the table. Let me see if I can share this for a second here.
While you're pulling that up, I'll share another game real quick that I played. There was another game that I really like to play that was on the floor. It was in the indie section. It's available now on Steam. It'll be cross-play and available on all other consoles in a couple months. And if you're familiar with, if you like Joust, if you like, what is it? What is it called? What's that game called? It's like Black Killer Queen, or Killer Black
Killer Queen
Queen,
Black.
Killer Queen Black. Thank you. Um, then you definitely like to play this game, and it's called Plunder Panic. It is a
Oh,
it is
this is a fun game.
a quick little pirate like team for what is it? 6-on-6 little like
Four. It was
and,
4-on-4, wasn't it? I don't know.
no,
Whatever.
well, we did 4, but you can play up to 6-on-6.
Oh wow.
And one, so these little pirates have different roles. The captains always have a sword. Other characters don't. You can buy swords. There's multiple victory sections. You can see here that each ship has like a mast, and you're filling it up with gold. You can win by filling it up with gold, or you can fire the cannon here by loading it with cannonballs to fire off and kill the other one. Or you can row this boat down here full of bombs to the other person. So there's multiple victory conditions, and it gets chaotic, but it's very fun, quick 6-on-6 party game, and it will be online and available in a few months on consoles. But it is available right now on Steam, and it's like $7.99 or something like that, something ridiculously cheap.
It's solid for the amount of fun I had there. The demo was great. Them running their demo was amazing. They timed everything.
I've literally been playing it on the Steam Deck. I've literally been playing it on here. Yeah, it is.
The actual tool of the game, right? I'm still on the Steam Deck this year. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do we have here? What was I going to show? Oh, yes. So, for Friday night D&D, I had both my brothers. Crossover Appeal play with us. And then we had brother from brother's sister, the Twitch channel, and then a good friend of the team as well, right? Brother's wife was there. I don't want to reveal names. She was there to play as well. So we had 6 players at the table. I don't have any pictures of the event, but I brought all the miniatures. I brought all the character sheets.
I mean, I've got video, and I'll put some video up eventually.
All the luxury items. But the adventure we played was called Knights on Devil's Peak. This is from the Arcane Library. She's got I shouldn't say she. They have a very cool way of designing adventures, and I cannot talk about it enough, right? So they do this amazing thing where, let me see if I can find it real quick, where the adventures are laid out, where it's just a couple descriptions here, she lays out what's developed, right? So 3 whites and 12 skeletons claw their way towards the base. And then how the scene ends. Can the characters stop the undead? And when they do, you transition to the next scene. So what this adventure gave us was this kind of tower defense, right? So I had all the heroes. I trapped them all in the church after one big, explosive event with explosions where they rescue some of the villagers, and then they spent the rest of the adventure trying to keep the bad guys out of the church or taking down the bad guys at the end. And one of the things I don't want to spoil the whole adventure. If you go out and buy it, it's worth the $5. So far, I think all of the adventures they put out are worth the $5. But you power them up, right? So the heroes are 5th or 6th level, and they went out there and they blasted their way through it, and we powered them up. By the end, people were watching us play the game. Everyone was so excited, having fun. I just saw that scene from the Patriot in my head. Is that with the defending the church? Is there a scene in the church?
Yeah.
So it was great. It's great. Like zombies are coming in, and my players are running around. There's a lot of moments of cleverness. At one point, your barbarian Crom stops a crowd of villagers trying to follow.
They've been sirened, right? There's a siren song that's calling them out of the church, and my barbarian, held back a good 20 of them, just with strength checks.
Used some inspiration points and kept those villagers in place in order for them not to be sacrificed to the demon. And yes, it was. So when I think about it, I still smile because it was a very odd moment. They got the whole crowd there at PAX East to give me a round of applause for running the adventure for folks. Last. This is one of those adventures that everything clicked. Everyone was in a great mood. It was high energy.
Yeah.
Even failures were fun, right? Like in one of the things I always say at my table, failures are fun. Even a missed roll was fun. I think
cinematic. I think the biggest point about this adventure was that while many adventures have a overarching story of travel, of getting from point A to point B, we were at end game at the very beginning of the session. And so what that allowed you to do is just throw the waves of enemies at us and let the enemy come to us, which allowed kind of a building, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How, let's use our resources. What's changing the environment? I mean, a good example here was the church in your head was one level, but your brother was like, did they ring the bell? He goes, yes. And he goes, I'm going to climb the bell tower. And all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, there's a bell tower? I was like, yeah, I'm climbing the bell tower.
In my head, I was like, I guess there's a bell tower now. He just sniped enemies from outdoors. So, I mean, Dan, I don't want to say everyone was just standing around watching the 6 of us play. There was a bunch of tables around us.
Playing their own board games, but eventually
attention more than others. Definitely people stopped to watch us for a few turns, especially when I brought out the giant skeleton giant for you all to fight against. And it was a straight blast. It was even when the rolls went poorly, it seemed to me like everyone had a great time. I know there was a lot of crestfallen players at the table when they all failed the roll to avoid the harpy song and climbed up on the roof. But it was great.
But I mean, no one died. It was great. It was a packed hotel lobby.
Lots of people at their own tables playing games, but keeping an eye on our action. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we'll never know if they were clapping because I was so great, or because the adventure finally ended because we were so loud and boisterous and having a blast. So
yeah,
that was a highlight of PAX East is almost always a D&D adventure with my D&D family at PAX East. But this one definitely took the cake this year. It was fantastic. So what was your high?
I mean, that was definitely one of my high. Playing D&D is always great. It's always, I don't get a chance to play it in person very often. As a matter of fact, that might be the first time I've played D&D in person,
COVID, right?
Since the last time, right? Yeah, I don't get a chance to play it in person very often. I don't have a party here in town to play it with. So I mean, while we do play on Roll20, the feeling is only about 50%, 75% there. Like we are playing it, but there's that camaraderie of being in person, rolling the die, failing the die,
that table energy is different.
Yeah.
So specialization is overrated. We won PAX. I'm going to say this: if you roll with us at PAX specialization, you're going to win it because we know how to win PAX.
Yeah.
What was a low? I mean, the slow crowd was sad. There wasn't as many. There wasn't many board game vendors there as I hoped for this year. I fear that PAX East the tabletop section might get bigger and bigger, but the board game vendors are getting smaller and smaller. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing more publishers there running demos.
Yeah, like the Sentinels of the Multiverse guys and gals weren't there, right? Those folks weren't there showing off their games. It
It
was a
was.
decent turnout. By
I'm not going to
Friday and
say it
Saturday, it was
wasn't a
packed.
decent turnout. It's
Yeah.
just it's hard to explain it when you've been every year and you saw how high it was, only to see it this like meager. But again, just because it was small doesn't mean it wasn't great. It was great, and we had a blast. I had an entire like I mean, but by that first D&D night, I had no voice.
Yeah, that's true. You were voiceless when you had to whisper
I
crown
was
words in
completely
my ears.
voiceless. I had to whisper. There
That's
was
great.
moments where I had to pull up my iPad and write down and say what I wanted to do, that sort of thing, because I just couldn't get it out because the room was so loud, the energy was so much, and I couldn't
There you
talk.
go, crossover. Yeah, it was decent. Definitely a slower year. The panels were weaker, publishers were fewer, and the crowd was slower on Thursday, especially on Thursday. But it picked up Friday. It was fully packed Saturday.
Yeah, fully packed
Sunday, I
Saturday.
barely hit the floor, but it was also pretty full on Sunday.
Again, lots of great indie developers. I mean, Devolver was there showing off all of their great games. Evil West was out as a game, Evil West, that I've been wanting to play. That was out there. I got to play that. I mean, lots of like little higher end indie games were there on the show floor to play for sure. No doubt about it. Usually there is the big splurge of PAX, right? So like 2012, 2013, I mean, we were there for the pre-release of Borderlands 2. I mean, we were there for Doom Eternal. We were there for original Doom. When it, the original remake of Doom. I
Well,
mean,
you're aging us now.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, we were there when what is The Last of Us? Sony was there and showing
that's
off The
right.
Last.
Yeah, we were there for
I
Last of Us.
mean, so there's a Splatoon was announced at like when no one even had it on its radar, and then Splatoon dropped its playable demos on the show floor, and I walked into that Nintendo booth and played it on that first day, and by the end of that PAX, it was a 4-hour wait to play that game because everyone word of mouth had gotten out that this was a game. This was a game to look forward to. This was the next big Nintendo franchise. I mean, PAX South, well, not East, PAX South was the first and only show that had a Switch playable because it was announced. PAX South was in January, and then the Switch launched in March, so there was nothing in between.
Everyone bought the Wii U to play it.
Yeah, everyone bought the Wii U to play it. It was like the one game that everyone was like, "Oh crap!" And so the original Splatoon was one of those games that like became kind of a small system seller for the Wii U. And we still don't have that campaign on anything else. If anything, that Splatoon 1 and all of its storyline and campaign is stuck on the Wii U. So there is no port of that.
Maybe we'll get a remaster. We don't like to worry about that. One last thing that was there. I don't know if folks have heard of this. I just like to throw it up there because every year I remember them. Right, it's one of those things that I like to do. It's called Ukiyo-e Heroes.
Oh yeah.
These folks had some sweet art there. They do kind of like a woodblock print, so traditional Japanese woodblock prints. Check out their website. They were at the show taking orders and offering art. Let me see if I can find something that everyone will recognize right off the bat. Right, so here we go. We got a lot of nerds here. Right, so sort of the inspiration is the old school woodblock Japanese art ukiyo. That's what they call it, and then kind of a modernizing take on it.
So we got Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, right there.
And there's always a flavor.
A lot of video game ones.
Cultural appropriation, but the person who makes these wood blocks is actually in Japan, owns stores, and no, they do not offer NFTs. These are actual physical things that you put up on the wall after you purchase them, right? So there's a whole videos on there if you're interested in the way woodblock print is made. They actually carve the color holders into the wood and play it out there, and it's a real art form. So they were at the show taking orders. I brought my brother years ago
there's an Evangelion one.
Yeah, the Evangelion one, and then there's a sweet little Street Fighter one. Let me see if I can find this triptych.
Yeah, I'm looking for some too.
So up on his wall is this sweet triptych. You can kind of see across. Hopefully you can see across. Maybe we can zoom.
There we go.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the triptych here. These are three different ones, and you've got the whole fight. This is called Battle in the Bathhouse, and it's Street Fighter, but they can't call it Street Fighter, but it's Street Fighter, and it's freaking awesome. Going across the way there. Yeah, specialization, right? These folks have been around for like 10 years. I was reading their website. They've been producing this art for a while now. Going to these geek shows have given up enough money to keep other old hobbies around, not hobbies, like industries. So the paper this is made in the traditional rice paper fashion that they make in Japan. So this traditional rice paper place gets business making this artwork for nerds, right? This is why NFTs suck.
Yeah.
And like art is cool. So you know, they're not cheap. I won't lie. You know, it's $45 for a print and significantly more for
Yeah, but you're paying for a piece of physical art that you hang on your wall, like
in a cool looking way. It's it's the circle of life. It's or the circle of capitalism, right? But
right. There we go.
it's pretty dope. Need one that could
I think this is one that you have, right? I'll share this one, and I remember you putting this one up on the wall, and I was like, oh,
yeah, I've got that. I've got this one.
so don't say what it is. Let's see. Can anyone guess what this one is? I'll see if I can zoom in here on it.
It's pretty easy. I think they can get it. Just no middle right mouse wheel. You can't zoom in with your mouse wheel.
Hey, I got it.
Yeah. Go astronaut, go with the knowledge. Super late to the party.
There we go.
Go Ash. You were missed.
Yeah.
You were missed.
There we go. Yeah. I got it. Do a barrel roll. That's right. So yeah, good Star Fox reference one. I like that one a lot.
This one I got framed and is up on the wall because I just love it. Right. It's very cool. Oh, and Crossover Appeal. Here's his acquisition. Picked up a cool indie RPG called Ryutama that looks like a tabletop version of a chill Miyazaki film. Been reading it, seems really neat. I got to look at this book, you know, over the Crossover Appeal's shoulder, and it did look very cool. This is the one. The GM is actually like a character. GM is like a dragon, and depending on which dragon you pick, it colors the story and the adventure being delivered at the table, and tons of rules on how to write better stories within the game. So I look forward to you running that for me, Crossover Appeal. That's what it's all about, right?
So we also got to play. They had they had it at the Devolver thread. Now that you mentioned Kurosawa and all of that, we got to play a little bit of
Trek to
Yomi.
Right? I've already got to download it.
So this one's coming out on Game Pass May 5th. And again, that one hit kill style samurai 24 frame per second kind of a game, and that played great. It played great.
Yeah, I mean, Specialization, it was sweet. In fact, I died like 3 times in a row, and I got the parry system, and I said to myself, I don't want to play this anymore at PAX.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it in 9 days via the Game Pass, and I'm going to play the hell out of it.
But you can definitely tell it is running at like a 24 or a 30 frame, kind of like a lower cap movement. It felt good. It felt cinematic. It felt like those old Kurosawa films for sure.
There's even some, like, you got to fight an Oni? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean,
I will forever be a WPIX Channel 11 like geek on these martial arts things. I can't help myself. It's so good. It's so good. I love it.
So this again, it is available.
One-shot kills like Bushido Blade. You're playing against enemies, obviously. You should also check out Die by the Blade. We were talking about Bushido Blade earlier. Go Astronaut Go is one of the folks at college that we played the hell out of Bushido Blade together, right? He died off into the east wind. Yeah, May 9th, you say. Yep, I've already pre-downloaded it. Game Pass. Get it, play it, get those cheap.
Yeah, and again, if you wanted to talk, we got to play just so you can show. We were playing that Die by the Sword there, which is again a very Bushido Blade-esque game that we talked about earlier. So again, seems to be a common theme. People are liking this game style, this one hit kill kind of.
This is all because of these. What is it? The
you had Sekiro and you had the other one on.
So you can see the arrows, right? That tells you your middle stance. Then you can go up to high stance, down to low stance, and you sort of have to block the right stance and the right move. There's a taunt. Yeah, there's taunts. That's right. And you rock it out there. This is actually at PAX East.
Yeah, that was us. I mean, I recorded this.
Oh, I see. I don't even know when did we record. Yeah, there goes Lost an Arm. It was a slaughter there. So Die by the Blade on the PC.
I mean, will it go on? I mean, I'm sure Sure it will. I'm behind
Adam,
on that. I'm
come
behind on that. I need to catch up. But
this year, Adam. So are any of these going on the 22 games in 22 list? It's like your 52 games list, but more realistic.
man, he called us out on that. Ouch. Yes, some of these games will definitely go on that for
I
sure.
will be lucky if I finish 1 unit of French cavalry this year. All right.
Yeah.
Can you just cut us a break? All right. Cut us a break.
For sure. Well, that's it, everyone. I mean, we'll be sprinkling a little bit of our PAX East visit and whatnot across the next couple of weeks because I mean, we gotta run off of that energy for the next.
I gotta watch Moon Knight. I'm behind. I gotta watch Batman.
Yeah, we sat down and watched that last night when I got home. You know, so I rocked out, so we caught up on that, and it's.
Thanks for jumping over crossover. You have a good
wow.
night.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week if you catch up because this episode that we were at PAX at Wednesday when we left was crazy.
All right.
But yeah. Yeah, thank you everyone. I'll be better next week. My voice will be back more, I won't be clear.
It's not COVID. Don't worry about him. He's fine.
It's not COVID. Not COVID. It's not COVID. It's not COVID. Oh my god.
I love it. Thanks for jumping on rolls, Adam. Even if you just jumped on to tease us all day long.
And again, please go check out all the other independent like YouTube guys that put out videos on PAX. Go check it out. Kind of live that energy. I'll put up a couple videos as soon as I get them done editing. Just kind of get that feel of the floor, that sort of thing. It's a great show. Support these indie developers. Go check out the games that are being talked about because what was great about this PAX was that because the big weren't there was no spotlight for them to kind of overshadow some of these smaller developers, and so people were finding some gems at PAX.
Great.
So,
yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, good night specialization. It's not the Tuma Namor. That's a deep cut. Really good
Namor. Oh god.
All right,
thanks everyone.
I gave it to her for Christmas. Someday we'll play it. Oh, Dan, we got to play some games.
Yeah, we got to play some games.
Play more games, everybody.
More games. All right, everyone. Take care. Another episode in the can. I am out. Take care, everyone. See you next week.
Be kind, everyone.